Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my overview slash review on the Asher Knives Whole Spiro here. This is a new offering coming from Asher Knives in April sometime, it looks like. And I wanted to obviously compare it to the titanium frame lock Nomad option, which dropped and should continue to drop, I believe, as he gets them made. Very cool knife. Love this knife. I'm also loving this knife. So double whammy here, guys, but I figured it'd be good to compare them in a second. So we can go over this one, and then we can do that. And I also brought some, I brought a box, so to speak, to cut so you could see how it goes through cardboard a little bit. It's not, going to tell you much, but it might tell you something. So first off, big thank you to Asher Knife Co. Justin over there is a great dude, and I say that every time, but that's because it's true. And thank you for sending this prototype around. I do have a list, so I have a path of travel for this guy. It's off to Knives next, and I want to get it moving. I like to do that so that other channels get a chance to check the knife out in a timely fashion. It sucks when you're on a pass around and it takes like 6 months to get a knife and there's only like 10 people on the pass around, right? We just got to try to move it quickly if possible. I know that means you're not going to get like the most long-term review kind of thing, but I mean, it is what it is, right? So off the bat, the Asher Whole Spiro, as in W/whole with whole Spiro. A little play on words there. I kind of made that up, so I don't know if he's going to go with it or not, but I'm going with it. Does have a reversible clip with a filler tab that sits flush. So does the screw. Awesome. It has this deep carry clip, which is fantastic. I've been using it since I got it. Works excellently. You do have T6 on the hardware other than the pivot being T8. I do wish that was all T8, but it is not. And it is past the point of being able to have him change anything on the run. So this is going to be the first version at least. I would have said do T8. And I also would have opted to switch the bearings to a larger size. So I think I did a disassembly of this guy, and I'm not sure if in that disassembly I added the skiff bearings, but I did that afterwards. I did it at some point. I put the 5mm, 1mm skiffs in here, and they do fit. You can see the action's really good on these. Centering is dead on. There is a slight bit of side to side to get it centered. You can tighten that down, but then it was over this way a little bit. This is a prototype, so obviously that's the kind of stuff that gets corrected in production. I wouldn't worry about that too much. So there was that, the bearings, the T6, and then my other sort of gripe is the logo being huge. But I think he told me it's already, it's already what it is. He likes the branding, and it's his knife. So if that's how he wants to do it, that's how it's going to be. I would buy it regardless, logo, no logo. I just think a little bit smaller would be better, or, maybe write Asher down the spine, or I don't know, something different than a big-ass logo. Maybe even on the pivot. That logo shrunk down on a pivot would look pretty cool, actually. So that's just some feedback. But yeah, so let's talk about the knife overall, right? So the normal review process, aesthetics. This is a sexy knife. I've always liked the Spiro design. It's always been one of the knives that I've really dug from him. Here's the original Spiro prototype. So the first Spiro was a liner lock in G10. And this is the prototype of it. It ended up coming in black G10. It was like contoured, and it was a little different shape than this, more like this. But that's the prototype there. You can see it's come a long way. Then there was a frame lock version with titanium, a frame and a G10 show side. Then there was a full titanium frame lock version. Then he came out with the flipper version of the Spiro. in an inset liner lock with G10. And now he has the full tie with hole Spiro. It's actually a different OEM. So I did ask if I could disclose, and he said yes. So these right here are going to be made by Kunwu Knives, which is awesome, guys. You guys know, or some of you may know, that Colin and I at Devo Knives are also using Kunwu to prototype our knife, the Stout. We had two OEMs prototype it, QSP and Kunwu. I've always really liked Kunwu. They are the ones who manufactured the Tau, which is an amazing knife, and the quality for the price is unbelievable. $134 for this in titanium and M390 with Damascus and an orange peel on multi-row bearings. Now you got to keep in mind, this is OEM by them, so they can offer it at a much lower price than if you're having it made by them. Then you also have to make money, right? But with that being said, Asher is still trying to sell these at around $105. So that's just ridiculous. So yeah, anyway, aesthetically, I think it looks great. I love the titanium. I love this bead blast finish all over. I do wish the blade maybe was a different finish, but I think it works well with this handle color and everything, the full bead blast. So I don't really have any issues with it. The hole shape is very interesting. It looks like a perfect kind of oval, but it actually does. It's a little bit larger on this side, you can see. I think it's cool. I like the hole shape, and it does actually work fairly well once you get used to it. It really is a great reverse and thumb flick, which is important, right? Ergos. So they did thin this out. So compared to the original G10 liner lock, you can see how much thinner it is. I don't think the flipper was very thick, no. But still, let's see. Yeah, it's still a little bit thinner than that flipper version right there. So it's definitely thin. I compared it when I first got it to the frame lock Stinger, and it was about as thin as the Stinger. So here's the Stinger. That's the liner lock, but they're the same thickness. Look at that. Same thickness as the Stinger there. I do have, obviously, this is one of the thinnest knives. This is the Nomad in titanium, and this is going to be a little bit thinner, but still, it's close. So you can imagine how it feels in hand. But with that, the ergos are outstanding. If you grip it back here, I get a full 4-finger grip with my large glove-sized hand. Feels excellent. I do wish the jipping was moved up because it's essentially useless where it is. If I'm in this grip, there's no reason for that jipping there. If I'm in this grip, even less, right? I don't know. I guess if you gripped it like this, you would be on the jimping, but I'm more likely to be doing something like this, right? But it all depends on your hand size, and it has this choke up point right here, so you can get up to the nitty gritty. I think it's extremely comfortable. I'm not feeling anything pokey or stabby or anything. The clip in hand, if you have it on the correct side, which you should because it's reversible, it feels really good. It doesn't protrude very much. It has a flat right here. Obviously you feel it, it's a clip, but it melts into my hand pretty well. If I, certain grips like this, I can feel it kind of biting into my palm, but that's because I'm literally trying to do that. I've never felt like it was in my way at all. So I really enjoy the ergonomics on this guy. Carry. So you have this deep carry clip that goes to the butt end of the knife. That's actually something new for Asher. Usually his deep carry clips are a little bit more shallow than the end, which never bugs me, but it does bug some people. You can see it's much more deep carry. And it's super lightweight, super thin. I mean, it just carries like a dream. You can see the milling in there. It's milled out on both sides extensively, just excellent. It is an absolutely phenomenal carry. Front left pocket is where I carried it, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. What else? Cutting. So let's talk about cutting. You have S35VN on the production run. Working with Kunwu myself, I am pretty sure that the prototypes are going to be D2. That's just how they do it. They do their prototypes in D2. So I'm assuming this is D2. So anybody who gets this after me that wants to test it, that's fine. But you're mostly going to be testing geometry and that kind of stuff. You're not going to be testing the steel because it's probably not S35VN. It is labeled that. But again, it's a prototype, so it's supposed to look like the real thing, so to speak, right? One thing I do want to note is he did mention he was going to dial up the D10 a little bit on the production run. You can see there I've failed it a couple times. It's really not like too light or anything, but it'll definitely benefit from being a little bit stronger. The only thing that concerns me with that is the lefty reverse flick, because as of now, I can flick it from right there. If I get too far on the lock bar, it gets harder. But if they strengthen that detent, this could become an issue for lefties. Justin is left-handed, so he does try to keep us in mind. But he's smart, and he's, you know, producing a knife that will sell to the masses. So, obviously, you know, he has to make it more right-handed, but he does try to throw in that reversible clip, and he tries to do a liner lock when he can. So I think dialing up the detent could cause an issue there, but honestly, it might just be just as good. You just have to get down here and flick it, right? Right-handed, it's no problem, but dialing it up a little bit, I think will be good. Again, cutting, we can cut through a little bit of paper, and then I'll grab that cardboard, which is not very thick, but you can see here it's got a good edge on it from factory. Kunwu does a great job. They actually are kind of getting nerdy about heat treats and stuff like that. So I would expect to get a above average edge or above average heat treat and above average sort of steel performance from Kunwu. I'm not saying it's going to be the best thing ever or it's going to be like a custom heat treat, but I think it's going to be better than your run-of-the-mill, you know, Wii knife or QSP knife or something like that. So what I have here is just a Lipton 6-pack right here that I have drank, and I just figured I'd cut through some stuff here, and we could see how it does. It's not super thick cardboard or anything like that, but give you an idea and give me an idea of how it feels in hand. Again, it's very comfortable in hand, and I actually am using that jimping just a little bit there on the end for my thumb. So let me try to cut through here. It's kind of awkward because of the tripod, not tripod, but the arm. So I'm trying to get through it. It's not as difficult as I'm making it seem. A little bit of a pinch grip here, kind of sawing through it. But if I go into this kind of grip, boom, boom. You know, it's slicing, no problem. Straight down, no issue. It's really, honestly, a pleasure to cut with. This is the cut I probably do the most on cardboard, is like cutting off an arm like that. Not an actual arm, you know what I mean? Look at that, just right through it like butter. It's going to be very thin stock. Very thin stock because you can see, I mean, it's just a very thin blade. If I get my calipers out that I absolutely hate, and I know you guys hate too probably at this point. I don't know if I did this in the unboxing, so 0.10. Get it back here, right? There we go, 0.10. So you got 0.1 stock, guys. That's usually what he uses. I mean, I think this is even thinner on the flipper, maybe. I mean, it's close. So you're going to get very thin stock, and that's going to cut very well, right? That's kind of the point. Let me just get some of this out of here so you don't have to look at it. We can move on. I'll clean it later. There we go. So it's just a quick idea of, you know, how the edges feels really good. It's very comfortable in hand through those cuts. I never felt like cramped or like I was struggling at all. It was just zip, 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 you know. You know, I didn't do anything crazy. That was probably the most I did, the hardest thing I did. But I did cut a little bit of fruit, cut some paper, some packages, and then that cardboard. So I think it was a pretty good sign of my normal day-to-day EDC tasks. And I think this blade grind, this edge, does a very good job. It is a flat grind that starts right about here. You can see right there. I recently learned what a plunge grind was, like actually, and it's a very good one on this, in my opinion. It ends before that edge, so you're not going to get really thick quick or anything. You're going to have enough edge. There's a choil there. I mean, all the kind of the good things that you want. So yeah, cutting, I think, is great. Sounds. Sounds are good. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I think it's very good in the sounds category. I do think those tiny bearings in there hinder it a little bit. It makes it a little bit looser, like, so to speak, than I would want it to be. I'd want a little more side-to-side strength and stuff like that you would get with bigger bearings. But all said and done or whatever, it's very good, especially in sounds. Now, action, same thing. I mean, you can see I've been reverse flicking this the whole time, thumb flicking it the whole time, slow rolling it the whole time. It's a dream to fidget with, honestly. As is, I think it's perfect for a lefty with the detent the way it is, because you're putting a little more pressure on it when you're resting on that lock bar. Right-handed, it's very good when you go to the top of the hole, because you're getting closer to the pivot. If you go to the bottom here, it's a little bit weaker, but honestly, it's still really good as is. I wouldn't really call it a negative in any way. I think the detent's pretty much dialed. The closing action bounces off your nail, and I mean, very close to wanting to drop. Just one little shake and she's down. Again, I had to tune it a little bit because of the centering and the tiny bearings. I did put skiffs in here, but honestly, they're pretty much feeling the same. I mean, it might be a little bit smoother on these, but I guess if anything, it just proves that you can buy skiffs for this when it comes out. You can buy the 5mm, 1mm skiffs. Remember that part, 1mm, not 1/16. It's the small ones. So they will fit in here and they will make a difference. I think they feel smoother. And I think I got a little bit less side to side because of it. Like, I got to get that centering a little more dead on with less play. Almost none, honestly, because it's a very thin knife. So, at some point you're just shaking the frame, right? I don't think there'd be any issues with it locking up or anything like that. Yeah, it's phenomenal. So, the action's great. This knife is great, guys. This is going to be a winner for Asher, for sure. I'm excited. I want one really bad, because being left-handed, having something this good is very hard to find to put in your left pocket. One of the only ones that does that is another Asher knife, and this is the Nomad in full titanium. Now, this is from the original OEM, or the OEM he's been using, where basically he gets all the parts sent to him and he puts them together. On this, Kunwu is actually building the knife and shipping them completed, right? Which is going to mean good things in terms of drops, guys. He's going to be able to drop a lot of them instead of having to put together 20 and sell them and then have time to put together another 20, sell them, right? That's what he's doing right now, because he's a one-man show. This is going to make life a lot easier for him. He can get them in, QC check them, and then just put them all up on his website. Going to be nice and easy, I think. Now, if you want to compare these, they're very similar. I mean, you're talking almost the same thickness, almost the same width. This one's going to be a little bit taller because of that hole in the blade, how it sticks up a little bit, just a little bit of a wider handle. I mean, but all in all, you're going to have the same, it's almost exactly the same handle length. See if you can get an angle here. Let me try to put it down here. I mean, literally almost identical in height, in width, in thickness, just, you know, all that stuff is almost identical. Excellent geometry. You might even, so here you're going to have the fuller that, you know, some people might say catches stuff. Here you're going to have the hole. I don't know. Pick your poison. I think the hole is a little bit more fidgety for me because I can reverse flick it easily left-handed. On this one, the detent's dialed in a little more, so I kind of have to get off the frame or be really low. Like I can't flick it there. Can just get it all the way down there. Or I can get off the frame and do that. This one's just a little bit easier for me to land and flick, right? But that could change with an increased detent. But I just like a hole better. You can easily slow roll it out, thumb flick it out, thumb flick it out, lefty, righty, whatever. But I also like thumb studs. The action, honestly, is almost identical on the close. Bouncing off your nail, smooth shakedown. This one's probably a little bit more drop shut. Like, you can just feel it wanting to close there, right? Where this one, it's more like I'm doing the work to close it a little bit. Totally going to come down to how it's tuned and everything by you or him when he gets it. Both are dead centered. Just excellent knives, guys. I honestly can't recommend one over the other. I think it's a preference thing, you know. I think these are like $96, and this is going to be like $105. Both are just extremely good knives, guys. I don't know what to tell you. They feel really good in hand. They cut really well. This one's M390, and that's going to be S35. So you're going to get a trade-off, right? This is going to cost a little more, and it's going to have S35. This is going to cost a little less and have M390. Why, Kev? How does that make sense? Okay, this is the previous OEM, who he might still be using. I don't know, for other stuff. This is manufactured in pieces, and then they ship him the scales, the clip, the screws, the standoffs, the stop pin, the backspacer, the blade, the studs. Like, they ship him the parts, right? And then he puts them together. That saves him a lot on the manufacturing, so he can then price it lower because he's doing a lot of the work for them, right? Where in this case, you're getting, I think I would say, a little bit higher quality, a bit maybe higher quality finishing, and a fit and finish and build quality is a little bit higher on the Kunwu one. I don't know the name of the OEM for this. And then it's being put together by the OEM for him. So it's going to cost a little bit more. And that's your difference, right? So I think it just comes down to your style, you know, whatever you think would be better. And what's available, you know. He's going to get a good number of these to drop in April. And these are still just like, you know, as he gets them, he puts them together kind of deal, right? So that's it, guys. I just wanted to kind of do a review on this and an overview on the two. Comparison, sorry. And yeah. So let me know what you guys think. Keep your eyes out on some other channels for this. It's going to be going to Knives next. That video might post before mine ever does. You know how it goes. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited for this one? Because I really am. I think this is going to be his most popular knife yet, even though this was a freaking smash hit and still is. So both are amazing, and I'm excited. So I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you again to Justin for letting me check this out, dude, and getting this pass around started. I appreciate all your support of the channel over the years at this point, and just being a good friend. So that's it, guys. Love you. Have a great day, and I will catch you later.